Fully loaded. Wow, what a wild day. And today is day 2063, 2063 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss because he was a whistleblower, because he knew the ties with the Fort Bliss, um, the cartel tied, embedded Mormon faction philanthropist tied. Um, their ties to the Walmart mass shooting. Um, yeah, that's a really big one, y'all. And just to let you know, because we're getting more and more information about the multiple shooters, that there were multiple shooters in the Walmart case that they tried to cover up, that they have been covering up for many, many years. But of course, there were multiple witnesses of multiple shooters that were recorded, and they tried to erase all of that and give everyone a false narrative to attack President Trump of a lone shooter that, would blame President Trump. And all of that was false. And it was absolutely to stop President Trump from reelection in 2020. The 2019 Walmart mass shooting was orchestrated, a bloody orchestration involving um, ties to the embedded cartel on Fort Bliss, and those involved in that, these mutineers, these traitors, these monsters that were involved in the Walmart mass shooting for politics, okay, to uh, to put out a false narrative to taint President Trump's um, character uh, right before the election, to hurt his chances, to tamper with the election, his reelection. All false accusations. And of course, Veronica Escobar was one of them. Veronica Escobar was one of them. So Richard was a whistleblower in that huge. So it's no, like here I am meeting with Veronica Escobar, the congresswoman that actively, illegally, um, tried to unseat, tried to really damage President Trump, really in the most unspeakable ways. Not a fair election, but absolutely engaging in political attacks that are not like a regular policy attack, right? But absolutely doing the most despicable things. And that's what Richard knew. He knew about. That's why his case is so huge. It's the upcoming um, lawsuits are going to be epic, right? Are just going to be absolutely epic. There's so much running through my head right now that I have to tell you. Let me make sure it's on. But this is day 2063. They went after Richard because he's the whistleblower. He's the Fort Bliss whistleblower. They took him down into the basement room of the barracks, the arms room, and they took his life and they stole his body off of Fort Bliss and trafficked it to Juarez for disposal. Evidence indicates uh, organ harvesting. These are monsters, absolutely monsters, and everything is coming out, and so I can really boldly tell you our evidence. Boldly tell you all our evidence tonight. It's been just such a busy day with all of the information, and I hope that I can get it out. I hope that I can, because I'm doing everything by memory, because there's not enough time. I don't have a staff, right? I don't have a staff. I do everything by memory. And because we are really busy filing, putting everything on record. Um, this is for our safety, for the public's sake. If you want to FOIA, you can FOIA um, what we have put on record, which is a lot, volumes. So we want everything to be on record for the public. Um, Also for our epic. I love that word, epic. I love it, and I think President Trump likes epic too, and he likes paperclip too. Um, Epic, um, because that's what our lawsuits are going to be. So today was a huge day, absolutely jaw drop. Yesterday was a huge day because you saw the authorities announce that the leader of La Linea had been uh, kidnapped in January, and that indeed he was tortured and he's no longer alive. They have his body. That is huge news. That it is all out greed, okay? All out greed in Mexico right now. There, the pie has shrunk. The They're really battling to survive. The criminals are battling to survive. We don't want them to survive. We don't. We want them to not be criminals any longer, right? Get a real job. Get a real job, or be held accountable for the very despicable things that you have done. And of course, the law enforcement will have to, and it's like the law enforcement are the cartels, right? And we saw that today, that they were encroaching everything. Mexico had become a narco state, absolutely is a narco state. Um, and so it's so hard to get justice for what's good and what's true and for the innocent, and protect families and the innocent and everybody that crimes are committed against, if the criminals are the state. And that has just absolutely happened in Mexico, and nearly so in the United States. Can you imagine? Nearly so in the United States. It is, but the elite, compromised uh, members of this trafficking pipeline would had privilege to live in the United States, right? To get away from the narco state, to get some safety. They felt safer in the United States, and of course, I can tell you that because not because I feel that they feel like, and I think that they're safer in the states. It's because they have property in the states and reside in the states, even if they are prosecutors, even if they are governors, even if they are a cartel. Look, they live in the United States, right? Um, so not even they want to live in their own narco state that they have created. So that tells you a lot. So what has happened today is huge. Let's see. I'm going to start with Veronica Escobar. Veronica Escobar is really a corrupt monster. Okay. Um, she held the purse strings for the Biden campaign when they when the Democrats turned on Biden. Okay. Now, they knew a long time ago before he was running that he had health problems, physical and mental health problems because of age, and that he wasn't fit to run. But because they are impersonators, because they are liars, because they are manipulators, because they have the likes of the El Paso um, Mormon faction cartel philanthropists, because they have these philanthropists, they're not philanthropists, okay? They brand themselves as philanthropists, okay? They are the El Paso Mormon faction cartel up to no good. And because they have those, they thought that they could just run him, that they could just run him. And when the debate happened and they all decided, okay, we have to desert him. We run him, but now we are going to cut him loose. We're going to cut him loose, but we have spent all this time raising money, making promises to philanthropists, to all of the Democrat supporters that have gave us a lot of money, businesses and whatever have people that want USAID and people that want the NGO support and so on, right? And so they had all of this money. So they kept Veronica Escobar on. She kept the purse strings for the Harris campaign. That's why they had to run Harris, because of this money, in my opinion. But of course, they kept Veronica Escobar on as the co-chair. That's unheard of. If a new person comes in, they have their own people. But no, with this case, it was Veronica Escobar with Biden, Veronica Escobar with Kamala Harris. And she had loads of money, loads of money, 1.2 billion, I believe it was. And anyway, she failed. She failed. Um, so we know that her staff member blocked our congressional hearing, two of them, for into the inquiry into the murder, the on-base murder on a U.S. Army installation, murder of a U.S. Army soldier, our son, for whistleblowing. She blocked that, okay? She blocked that. We know that. We know her staff member. We were in communication with Benito Torres. When we saw his name now in trouble with ICE for impersonating a lawyer, for bringing in contraband into a federal detention facility, wow. Wow, we had to go check it. We had to go check it twice. We had to remember it all. And because we keep all these records, because we have filed and filed and filed, and our notes are very vast, we could check, and there he was, Benito Torres, the staff member for the caseworker, staff member for Veronica Escobar, that blocked our um, congressional inquiry into the murder of our son. Um, that was huge. The question is, did she know that he was impersonating a lawyer? Did she know that he was um, trying to bring in contraband into the uh, the federal detention facility? Want to get all these names right. Well, we have now evidence today. We checked. We have evidence today that indeed she had full knowledge and consent of Benito's Torres's actions. That's really huge. That's where I'm gonna stop, though, and as soon soon enough, you'll find out what that is. But we have, of course, the ICE have, proof of what he did, right? The logbook, his signing of the letter that says, like, he cannot bring in that contraband, um, you know, because you cannot bring cell phones in and give them to detainees, especially, right, any detainee. But these detainees, you have to remember, are criminals, and there's many of them that are violent criminals, and they cannot have access to communication with one another and to those that have connections there in the borderland or on Fort Bliss, because that would put guards and the community and our military at great risk. Great risk. So you cannot bring in cell phones and, like, hey, the guard just left here. Do you see him coming around the corner? Da da da. Take a right and take a left, and now I'm going to have a friend waiting out in the car. You can't have communication, but like that, um, within a detention facility. It puts so many people and other detainees in great jeopardy. Also, um, so they have the evidence that he did that. He admitted to it. He also said that she knew about it. But are we going to depend on that? No, we need good hard evidence. Well, we have that. We have that today, and I just wanted to announce that to everybody because that's so important to know. Um, because how can you have a congresswoman that is protecting criminals, right? Is putting people in danger, her own constituents in danger. She's putting her own constituents in danger and also not protecting our soldiers, and especially our whistleblower soldiers and those that uh, need justice, like Richard. How can, she not ask for a congressional inquiry when Richard's body was stolen off of Fort Bliss? And where's the videos? Where are the videos? And we have all the evidence with Director of Emergency Services Thomas Kane. Where are the, in this, where is the videos? Where is the body cam? You know, that is really the going question for this same group. You have to realize that the same group that hurt Richard is the same group involved in the killing of the most decorated FBI agent, Julio Cordero, Poison Pond's amazing law enforcer, right? Um, that helped Fort Bliss, that helped El Paso, right? That helped El Paso so much. And it's the same group that is involved, that is connected with what happened to Richard, is connected, the same group that is connected to the killing of Julio Cordero, okay? And the same group for the Walmart mass shooting. It's the same group. The Walmart mass shooting, Julio Cordero, and Richard Halliday. And in each case, the question is, where's the video? Where's the body cam? Where's the video from Fort Bliss? Where's the video from Walmart? We have those questions about the multiple shooters. This is what is coming out now. Okay, this means that that James Montoya is a failure. Okay? That James Montoya is not just a failure, he is a huge failure. A huge failure. Because the case is not even solved. There is at large shooters out there for a mass shooting in a Walmart, right? In El Paso, and millions of dollars were put onto the taxpayer bill, right, to cover for the prosecution or the defense and prosecution of Patrick Crucius, and there's multiple shooters. We know that Julio Cordero said, no way Patrick Crucius did this alone. And yes, the the crime scene was staged, meaning they moved things around. They messed with the crime scene. Did people get killed? Yes. I've never, ever doubted the bloodiness of the Walmart mass shooting. The tampering is clear. The orchestration of it is clear. The staged crime scene is clear. The lack of video footage or the piecemeal of footage, and, where is the real footage for the Walmart mass shooting? And the hiding of the Mayellas, and the lack of reporting by, this is like, what is it, the fourth largest, uh, it, um, and maybe I'm wrong on that one, but it is one of the top, I know it's in the top 10 largest mass shootings in the United States history. And we uncovered the whole Mayella family, that is connected to Allen, Texas, that's connected to the courthouse, that's connected to the DA's office, that's connected to um, Jaime Esparza, right? Jaime Esparza, the DA at the time, that became the DA for the AUSA, which is another piece of evidence that is really damning to Veronica Escobar, because it was Veronica Escobar that had the connection to the White House when Biden went in there to get the appointment of Jaime Esparza in the federal case for um, the Walmart mass shooting as the AUSA for the Western District. Now, because there were complaints about that, he was ordered off of the Walmart mass shooting case. So very few people know that. But she wanted, and whoever is backing her, like the philanthropist, wanted Jaime Esparza. They needed Jaime Esparza in the AUSA office, because of the Walmart mass shooting, because of this whole Mayella, because of the connections with Patrick Crucius's family, not only with the Mayellas, not only in the FBI, not only in the DA's office, not only in the federal courthouse, not only in the health business, but also in Allen, Texas, also with the Brazilian um, baby farming monster, that's part of the trafficking pipeline. The Zorro Ranch trafficking pipeline. So Veronica Escobar is also in a very, I mean, there's just so much evidence against her and her criminality. And so that's really important information. And she wanted to absolutely cover up the multiple shooters, the multiple shooters. And that is now coming out again. That is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, because, you're talking about 2019, but there's no statute of limitations when it comes to murder cases. So, this is very interesting what's going to happen with the Walmart mass shooting case and the multiple shooters. Um, and also, with the same group and the videos, right? Where are the videos in Richard's case? Where are the videos in Julio Cordero's case? Where is the video for the Walmart mass shooting case. It all needs, it's the same group, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's the same group. So that is a hopeful statement because the group is much smaller than what it seems like, right? It's much smaller than what it seems like. You think, oh my gosh, everybody is, but people are being corrupted and compromised because of fear tactics and retaliation um, and threats, and even it actually happening where they are retaliating against people taking away their livelihood and everything. And look at what they did to President Trump. They did that. Whether you like him or not, he was targeted. My Oma would say unvi, targeted unvi, and more, and more. And so that leads to the next piece of news that has come out today that was just jaw-dropping, and I need to play it. I need to play it. I really do. Let's see if I can pull it up because it is so important. And let's see if I can pull it up and play it because it's just worth it. And I should have had it loaded up before, but I think I can find it pretty quick, and I can. Because everybody needs to watch this, and it is I got it. So let's put it on. Let's put my earphones on.
Whistleblower made statements to the Inspector General under the Inspector General's testimony confirms the following: that the whistleblower made statements to the Inspector General under penalty of perjury that were not true and correct. That the whistleblower first made statements in writing under penalty of perjury that were not true and correct. The whistleblower then made statements under penalty of perjury that were not true and correct in his or her verbal responses to the Inspector General's investigative team. Because of the whistleblower's statements in writing and verbally to the Inspector General that were neither true, correct, or accurate, pages 53 to 73 of that sworn testimony reveal that the Inspector General was not able to answer any questions, none from me, about the whistleblower's contact or communication with Chairman Schiff's staff, of which Mr. Goldman is a member. Mr. Castor, do you remember anywhere in this 299-page report that makes reference to the fact that when the whistleblower started this inquiry, he or she did so by making statements under penalty of perjury that were neither true or correct in writing, and then did so again verbally?
I don't remember that.
After the Inspector General testified on October 4th, and after media reports revealed that the whistleblower and Chairman Schiff did not disclose their prior contacts or communications with one another, the whistleblower contacted the Inspector General to explain why he or she made statements under penalty of perjury in writing and verbally that were not true, correct, and accurate. Mr. Castor, is that communication from the whistleblower to the Inspector General to explain prior inconsistent statements reflected anywhere in the 299-page report?
No.
On October 2nd, Chairman Schiff's spokesman, Patrick Bolin, acknowledged publicly that the outlines of the whistleblower's accusations against the president had been disclosed to the House intelligence staff and shared with Chairman Schiff. Mr. Castor, is that disclosure and Mr. Bolin's admission of that disclosure anywhere in this report?
I don't remember seeing it.
It's not. I think all members of Congress should be held accountable during this impeachment process. And to that end, if I have made any false statements about the whistleblower or the Inspector General's testimony today, then I should be held accountable. The way to do that would be to release the Inspector General's testimony, or even just pages 53 to 73. I would add that there's nothing in those pages that would in any way identify or place at risk the whistleblower's identity, nor would it reveal any information that in any way relates to, much less jeopardizes, national security. Look, Maybe there's a believable explanation for why the whistleblower made statements that weren't true or accurate about his contact or her contact with Chairman Schiff in writing and then again verbally. Maybe there's a good explanation for why the words Congress or congressional committee was confusing or not clear to the whistleblower. Maybe there's a good explanation for why the whistleblower also misled the Inspector General in writing on August 12th by stating, "I reserve the option to exercise my legal right to contact the committees directly," when the whistleblower had in fact already contacted Chairman Schiff's committee 2 weeks before he or she wrote that. Maybe there's a believable reason why Chairman Schiff was not initially truthful about his staff's communications with the whistleblower. Maybe there's a good reason that explains all of these statements in writing and verbally that just weren't true and correct. Maybe there is, but there is no good reason for voting to impeach and remove from office an American president without allowing a single question to be asked of a single witness to get an explanation for why the Inspector General was not told the truth about contacts between the whistleblower and Chairman Schiff. The bottom line is we should all be held accountable, and next November, every member of the House will be asked this question: did you vote to impeach the president without allowing any investigation into why the whistleblower that started it all did so by making statements in writing and verbally under penalty of perjury that were not true? Democrats may not care if that question ever gets answered, but the voters will. I yield back.
Wow. Okay, so why is that so important? So Congress voted to impeach President Trump without being able to review the whistleblower's accounts and ask questions about the validity of what the whistleblower was saying. And what the whistleblower reported was now not true. So the whistleblower was a false witness and was in communication with Congressman Schiff. I think Schiff is a senator now. But this is really, they voted, and this includes Veronica Escobar. They voted without any review of the whistleblower, um, who is now a proven false witness, to impeach a president of the United States. In this case, it was President Trump. Now, Veronica Escobar voting for that and using her leverage with President Biden, because with President Biden at the time, because she had access to the White House and she became his co-chair, holding on to his money. She had access to him and requested that Jaime Esparza be appointed as the prosecutor for the Western District of Texas, where the Walmart mass shooting was being prosecuted, right? Was being investigated and prosecuted. Wow, y'all. When this all works out, it just shows you how evil that woman is and how she doesn't work for her constituents. She's a narco politician, and she's just covering for that trafficking pipeline that was going on there at Zorro Ranch that moved over to Fort Bliss. So, yeah, that was huge. And if you're a congressperson, voted at that time, yeah, you need to see what their motives were, what they were into, because there was no legitimate reason to um, and also, it wasn't good enough. There has to be a review of vetting, right? Like Candace wanted to vet Mitch Snow. There has to be a vetting of the whistleblower. And that's why, yeah, and that whistleblower was a false witness And so they're really going to be held accountable for now voting to impeach without a review of the whistleblower and the connection of the whistleblower with Schiff. So that is huge. Um, I'm not embarrassed to support Make America Great Again and President Trump. Not one bit, not one bit, And the people that are, I'm just reading some of the comments. Um, the people that are against President Trump, and I I have a lot of insight, and they're just up to no good. They're just up to no good. That's the main people that are leading the charge, especially like the media, not reporting um, that this next news, because uh, yesterday was so big with the leader of La Linea losing his life, and people saying that, Trump didn't have anything to do with it. Trump had everything to do with it, everything to do with what's going on in Mexico and the pressure that the cartels are feeling. The whole spigots are drying up from USA to the NGOs to the fuel theft to the Maduro and the all the drug trafficking, the human trafficking. It's all being dried up thanks to President Trump, and it's causing, um, yeah, it's causing strife amongst the cartel. They're all trying to survive, right? And we don't want the trafficking, um, flesh peddling to continue. We don't. Um, and, Gabriella, don't forget her words. They eat humans. They're eating humans. So these are flesh peddling. They are absolutely human flesh consumers, and we don't want them to continue that crime anymore. And so, this is amazing to see what's happening because with that information, what Trump has just accomplished uh, is the arrest of Miss Fong, Cesar Duarte's wife, Bertha Olga Duarte Fong. Um, uh, she was arrested. Remember, not too long ago, their house there in Parral. Parral is in the middle of Mexico, beautiful, along the Silver Mountain, the mountain that has the silver mines in it. Beautiful historic city. They had humongous house there. It was seized in the past. Cesar Duarte said, "You can't seize the house because it's not in my name." They had to give it back. This time around, they seized the house. Okay, they seized the house. That means that the whole family is under investigation. And you see that because he is in custody in a prison in Mexico City, a very, very high secure prison where families not even allowed to visit it. Um, and so now in El Paso, ICE arrested his wife, Bertha Olga Duarte Fong. And there's a lot to this, y'all. It is so big. It is so huge. It's epic. And tomorrow I'll know more information. I'm trying to keep up with everything and give you the what all this means, okay? Because this is leading to the question, is Maru Campos, the governor of Chihuahua, is she next? And is her mother next, right? Maria Eugenia Galvan, is she, or, she has another name, but are they next? Are they next? Is the governor of Chihuahua, Maru Maru Campos, is she next? That's where this is leading. Okay. So this is the level because the governor of Chihuahua interfered with our son's case. Okay. Is part of this whole interference with our son's case with César um, Harigi, prosecutor for Chihuahua, with Cesar Paneche, caught in the whole oil stealing, siphoning um, crime. But he was also the prosecutor for Chihuahua right before Cesar Harigi. And then, of course, you have the prosecutor for the North Zone, which is Carlos Manuel Salas, living in the United States, meeting with the owners of Plenitude Crematorium. The As evidence would indicate, the dumping place, the disposal place of our son's uh, partial remains, because evidence indicates about the organ harvesting and other dismemberment. This is hell to have to report this, but I have to tell you how it is, and it never gets easy, and that's why our lawsuits are going to be epic, absolutely epic, because of what they've put us through is just horrific, absolutely horrific. And what they did to our son, is just absolutely monstrous, monstrous. So, Cesar Paneche, Cesar Hargi, Carlos Manuel Salas, they interfered with our son's case. They are colluding and colluding with enemies, people that absolutely connected to our son's case, transnational criminal network, transnational terror organizations that lead right back to El Paso, to the philanthropists. And is Maru Campos next? Because it would absolutely take down the narco state that has protected the criminals and covered our son's case up. So this would be just really, please pray that it all happens, because it's huge news. And we absolutely want justice, and we want our son's remains. And this is, wow. And President Trump is doing this, y'all. You don't mess with him. You don't mess with him. He is doing this. So absolutely, I will absolutely wear his hat. And well, it's America's hat, right? Make America great again. It's America's hat. It's for the law abiding. And they always try to embed and take over and change the whole agenda that it was originally for. And so, yeah, it's and all of this is connected to what's happening in Iran, because this is, like the deep state, right? This is the deep state that have given us all these terrible wars, have given us these mass shootings, have, done all this terrible stuff with the culture through all of the trafficking, and all of the grooming to cover for the trafficking, all of the violence because of protecting different cartel factions. And yeah, and I'm going to say this too. It's El Mayo's name is coming up a lot. I think he was very upset at what they did to him. Okay, I think he was very upset. Now, am I a friend of El Mayo? No, it was his lawyer that was sent to as counterintelligence to our son. but he is absolutely in custody, and he's not happy how that happened. That's the word that we're getting, and of course, he put up the banners, right? He put up the banners calling out all of it's his information that he knows. He's a billionaire involved in this for many years, Sinaloa cartel leader. It's Almayo's information that has been very helpful to us in our case to putting pieces together. So, it's amazing how God works, right? It's totally amazing. The very person that targeted our son is indirectly or in his revenge giving us information to get justice. So I did cover that. I did cover Duarte, and I have the picture here. I'll put it up here. So let's see the so I just want to say that this area here going up um to Santa Fe, they have a lot of land there. They have a lot of land in the United States, the Duartes do, right beside, adjacent to White Sands Missile Range, restricted airspace. The call-ups are the northern call-up. It's just a huge. It's the largest restricted airspace, I believe, in the world. That's what I was told, and I'm sticking with it because it is absolutely huge unless someone tells me otherwise, and corrects me. But I believe I'm absolutely right. And that went to Zorro Ranch, and above Zorro Ranch was Beto O'Rourke's family Sanders Ranch. So, this is we're things are being revealed to us, and not only that, but accountability has happened. They arrested her. They arrested César Duarte's wife. Okay, so this is really important information. It's a game changer. Yeah, I covered that. Yeah, I think that is so much to really concentrate on, especially, oh, yes, today was Annunciation Day, right? So, it's just amazing because Annunciation makes you go and read the Magnificat. And the Magnificat is all about what's happening right now, where these people that sit in the best seats, that are in the highest levels of government, in the highest levels of power, that think they are untouchable, God brings them down low. And the humble that fear the Lord, that want to establish justice in everything they do and be honest and do good in the world, God is going to lift up. God is going to lift up. So this whole Annunciation Day, um, justice is coming, right? Justice is coming, and using simple people to do the greatest things. I mean, no one can debate that Mother Mary is the great, uh, uh, only second to Jesus, right? Only second to Jesus. So, yeah, it's a great day, and I hope everyone had a great day and really recognized what a special day Annunciation Day is, and all the news that is happening, the breaking news, the accountability not for the people that are in leadership roles that abused them. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back. I will be back tomorrow. God willing.